Hey friends, this is Ryan with Arrows of Love. Welcome back to my channel. First and foremost, if you like these videos and would like to see more of them, please click that like button and subscribe. It helps the channel. It's very much appreciated from me. Okay, so I'm doing this video on April 26th. Today is a full moon in Scorpio. The full moon always occurs when the sun is opposite to the moon. The sun is sitting in Taurus, the moon sitting in Scorpio. This is going to be an intense one. It's probably going to be the most intense full moon of the entire year. Scorpio is already an intense sign. Its element is water. It's traditionally known to be a house about sex, taxes, death, transformation. But on a deeper level, this is about what's happening to us on a subconscious level. It's about finding purpose. It's about digging deep into what we are supposed to align with. And it's about the release of something that we might be attached to that isn't totally healthy. So this full moon is really going to test us on a self-worth basis. The sun is sitting in Taurus. Taurus is all about value, hard work, stability, financial stability. Scorpio, on the other hand, is going to be about digging deep into these subconscious feelings that are lingering beneath the surface. It's a mysterious sign. It's a complex sign. The ancient astrologers viewed Scorpio, the 8th house, as a house of karmic debts we owe to others and debts owed to us. So this tends to be a very intense house, just generally for everyone. What makes this particular full moon even more intense is that the sun in Taurus is going to be aligned or conjoined with Uranus. And Uranus is the change agent planet. It works through shock and awe. It creates instability at times. It rules electricity. It has everything to do with changes coming in our life. It's known as the Tower card in the Tarot. And if you've ever seen the Tower card, it's this bolt of lightning striking down on the tower and to the lovers essentially falling out of the tower. It's meant to crack foundations that are not built solidly. And if you think about the themes of Taurus, it's all about building that solid foundation slowly, methodically, but surely. And Taurus is all about self-worth. What do we value? So when we have the sun and the moon opposing each other in Taurus and Scorpio, it's all about digging deep in our relationships. And how do we value ourselves in these relationships? Do we find value? Do we find purpose? Is this aligned with who we truly are? And it's going to illuminate these things through this full moon. Now, we look to the ruler of Scorpio to think about the themes that could possibly come up. Now, modern astrologers would say that Pluto is the modern ruler of Scorpio, and Pluto's sitting at the 26th degree of Capricorn, and it's about to go retrograde in a few days. So this is also very important. So Pluto in Capricorn is going to test achievement, success, responsibility, determination, true grit to get through some really hard things in our lives so we can rise above. Capricorn is a sign of duality. So it's the goat fish, it's the sea goat. So part of it has to do with the material world and what it is we possess and what it is we obtain. But then Capricorns generally go through a moment of catharsis where it becomes the fish, and the fish is known for its intuitive nature. It's about spirituality. It's about spiritual growth. Capricorn's known as the initiate. So there is this point at which we have to do some spiritual growth with this particular full moon, being that Pluto is sitting in Capricorn. Now, the ancient ruler of Scorpio is Mars, and Mars just transited into its fall position in Cancer. And that was just a few days ago. I think it's at about 2 degrees of Cancer right now, and this points to conflict within the family, possibly with women, with the mother, with the home, possibly some issues happening in the house, just conflict generally when Mars is in its fall position. It's dignified when it's transiting through Capricorn, which happens to be where Pluto is sitting. So there could be some tension with family, generally speaking, but generally with the full moon, it has to do with relationships and feelings, buried feelings coming out, secrets revealed. Remember, Pluto is the god of the underworld, so it's things that we don't see. It's things lurking beneath the surface that bubble up and come out, maybe in unexpected ways, with Uranus sitting right next to the moon. It can be shocking at times. It can really rattle us, but it's meant to provide a healing energy when we release those things that aren't built on the solid foundation, when it's not aligned with who we truly are and our self-worth. So through that release, we find healing. And that's ultimately what Pluto is all about, is the transformation and the healing process that comes through the dark night of the soul. So this can be pretty dark at times. It can be pretty jolting. But the good news is that there's healing that comes through it. Now, this full moon is also going to be squaring taskmaster Saturn, which is sitting over in Aquarius. We have a lot of fixed energy. We have Taurus, which is a fixed sign, Scorpio on the opposite side of the wheel, which is a fixed sign, and then Aquarius. So it's making this loose T-square. Saturn is at about 12 degrees right now. This full moon is going to happen at about 7 degrees of Taurus and Scorpio. So when we see a T-square like that, especially with Saturn, and Saturn rules Capricorn, it's all about taking responsibility. It's about taking the high road, having discipline. Saturn's also about decay and death. So there could be some death and rebirth processes playing out in your life right now. This could be about ostensibly about endings, and we have to let those things go, which just no longer have a part in our lives. So this can be a little bit troubling. It can feel very restrictive. There could be delays happening, but ultimately it's for the best. So just remember, it's about karmic debts, and we all have debts that we have to pay to others, and there's debts owed to us. So this could come out several different ways. But what I'm going to do is go through all 12 signs, how this might affect you personally. This could be for your sun or your rising sign. So let's start with Aries. Aries. Scorpio is 8 signs past Aries. That's the 8th house. The 8th house is this intense house. It's about death and rebirth. It's about transformation, catharsis, and healing. It's about sex, taxes, and death, and karmic debts. So for you, Aries, this is going to be a very potent full moon, and the sun's sitting in your house of value and self-worth. So you're going to be tested in these particular houses. And then Saturn sitting over in the 11th, and your hopes, wishes, dreams, friends, and group associations. So there might be, when you combine the 3 together, there could be something dealing with friends. It could be dealing anything with intimacy, death, just generally speaking, could come up during this time. It's going to be an intense one for you, Aries. The best thing is get through it. Don't act impulsively. Let things happen as they need to, and don't push anything, because that's where you get in trouble. Taurus, full moon's happening in your 7th house. Scorpio is 7 signs past Taurus. The 7th house is all about marriage. It's about one-on-one relationships. It's about your relationship with the public and your public reputation. So you could be reviewing these things, and things could come up on the marriage front. With Uranus sitting in your house, you could be wanting liberation and change. So some of you might change up your relationships. Some of it might come to an end. There could be divorces in the works for you. Just with Uranus, it tends to really shake things up for you personally. Gemini, this is happening in your 6th house. Scorpio is 6 signs past Gemini. The 6th house is a complicated house. Ancient astrologers believe that this was the house of disease, bondage, slavery. But modern astrologers would say this is the house of service, health, routine, work. So things could come up on the work front for you generally. That sun is sitting in your 12th right now, so it's a sleepy house. It's the house of the subconscious. So things could come up subconsciously through work that just need change. Maybe you're looking for a new job. Perhaps you're changing up your health routine. Things could come up with service. And the service is broad. It could be service to others. It could be service to yourself. There's something that needs to be released there. Cancer. The full moon will happen in your 5th house. Scorpio is 5 signs past Cancer. The 5th house is about fun, games, children. It's about romance. So things could come up with children. Perhaps there's a surprise on the way. Maybe some of you become pregnant. If you don't want to become pregnant, know that as well, because The 5th house rules children, but it's also about fun and games. It's about it's karmic fortune. So this is a fortunate house, generally speaking, and good things could come from you. And with Taurus being your 11th house, that's where the Sun and Uranus are sitting. So this could come up with friends. The 5th house and the 11th house is pretty complicated. So you could have things going on with group associations. Maybe you're changing things up on the friends front. Just generally with Taurus being in the 11th, and that's been happening since 2018. So this has been a long transit for you, but the moon sitting in the 5th can really point to children for the most part and motherhood. So that could go either way. Virgo, this is going to happen, next is actually Leo. Leo, this is 4th house matters. Scorpio is 4 signs past Leo. The 4th house has to do with home and family. It has to do with foundations, your roots, looking at the foundations and the roots of your relationships, looking at the home. Some of you could be considering a move at this point in time. The Sun is sitting in Taurus, which is your 10th house, and the 10th house rules career. So some of you could be changing up career, looking at new jobs, looking at moving for a new job. But for the most part, it's going to happen with something with family could potentially come up, or something with the home could come up. The 4th house also rules motherhood. So again, some of you might become mothers, or some of you might be dealing with some issues with mom, just generally speaking. Virgo, this is your 3rd house. Scorpio is 3 signs past Virgo. The 3rd house is about communication. It's about learning, marketing and selling, and siblings. So it's a busy house. So there could be a lot of communication going back and forth, a lot of intense communication, feeling communication. It could be emotional communication. And Taurus is in your 9th house of higher education, learning, adventure, long distance travel. Be careful traveling, generally speaking. This points to potential issues with even short distance travel. So anything dealing with those could be coming up. Maybe you're taking a new class, maybe you're graduating. It's kind of that time of the year, maybe wrapping things up. So Virgo, this could point to anything dealing with education, but it's a busy communicative house. So be aware of that. And this also rules siblings. So things could come up with any siblings, or even spouses' siblings, partner siblings. So keep that in mind. Libra, Scorpio is your 2nd house. It's 2 signs past Libra. Libra has to do with the 2nd house has to do with money, cash flow, from the business you own or the company you work for. This house has to do with self-worth. So things could come up on these fronts, things that we value, possessions. Could be things at the home, but generally speaking, you're going to be tested possibly with cash flow, but this could also point to things with self-worth and how you are valuing yourself with others. Scorpio, this is happening in your 1st house. This is going to be an intense one for you. Uranus and the Sun are sitting over in your 7th house of marriage, contracts, and the public. So things could definitely come up for you. And Saturn's sitting over in your 4th house of home and family. There could be tension right now with partnerships, family. Maybe you're moving. But it's going to be very intense for you because this is sitting in your house. So things tend to bubble up from you. Maybe you're wanting to change up something in your relationship. Perhaps you have intense feelings that need to come out, and you reveal something that's been lurking underneath the surface. Sagittarius. Scorpio is 12 signs past Sagittarius. The 12th house is, it's a complicated house. This is the ending. This points to endings of any type. It points to research, points to things happening on a subconscious level. It's also a house, it's a sleepy house. So you could be feeling just really drained right now, generally speaking. Because things are happening beneath the scenes. It's things that you're doing, on your own. So anything that you've been working toward, building, not necessarily in secret, but on your own, that's when things could possibly come to light. Maybe you reveal, a big project or a business idea at this point in time. The 12th house also points to self-undoing. So be very careful that you're putting yourself out there in the most with integrity, because this points to some self-sabotage as well. That's kind of the negative side of the 12th house. Just be aware of that. Capricorn, Scorpio is 11 signs past Capricorn. The 11th house has to do with groups, friends, allies, your hopes, wishes, and dreams. So things could be changing for your future. Perhaps, a lot of things have changed on the friendship group. The sun in Taurus right now is in your 5th house of fun, romance, children. So this also points to potential parenthood, things coming up with children, but it's also your allies and your group association. So something could come about that kind of rattles you or that is revealing through anything dealing with allies and groups. Aquarius. Scorpio is 10 signs past Aquarius, and the 10th house has to do with ambition, success, your career, your public reputation. So, maybe you're changing things up on the career front. This could really point to, career changes. Maybe something comes out in the work, dealing with work partnerships that kind of just changes things up. But emotionally, you're going to be focused on work and your public reputation and how you present yourself to the world. Pisces, this is going to happen in your 9th house. Scorpio is 9 signs past Pisces. The 9th house has to do with higher education, expanding the mind, long distance travel, learning. So if anything dealing with, if you're a college student, if you want to go back to school, all of those themes would play to your favor right now. Or if you're, like I said, graduating, those are all themes that could potentially come up for you right now, Pisces. Or maybe you're wanting to go back to school or expand the mind in some way. You want to learn something. This also has to do with law. The 9th house has to do with law, universal law, morality. So maybe, a court case is wrapping up during this time. Any of those things would go potentially in your favor. So that's what's going to happen over, the next week. This particular full moon is also a super moon, which means it's very close to the earth. It's going to appear like a pink color in the sky. So it's going to be an intense one. I'm definitely going to be checking it out. And, I wish you all well. And just remember, this is about buried feelings. This is about going deep on the subconscious level. This is about karmic debts. So we're completing karma during this time. So just let it flow. Just know that buried feelings are probably going to come out during this time. There could be some intense communications during this time. And with Uranus in the mix, shock and awe, unexpected events. But just know that it's meant to guide us toward what it is we truly feel fulfilled with and who we feel that fulfillment with. So it's going to test those relationships. It's going to test where we want to go in our life and our alignment with who brings us worth. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I will be back to do the tarot cards. I've been extremely busy with work. Just generally speaking, it's been really intense for me. So I apologize for not putting out the tarot readings this month during April, but I will be back. I got another crazy week to go, but I'm hoping I can get some of these readings done over the weekend. So I hope you're all doing well. Leave comments. Let me know how this all goes for you. I'll be watching. Until next time, take care.